tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Good morning, Swarm, and welcome to Tinfoil Hat. You know I am. You know I'm here to do. I'm here to join me as always, Xavier Guerrero, and on the 1-2s, internet celebrity Jay Nice, Johnny Woodard.
A lot
of fans in Dallas. A lot of people, especially some attractive women, were like, "Where is Jay Nice, Johnny?"
Yeah, Sam called me and what was it, I don't know, 11:30 at night or something. I was asleep.
Is it the girlfriend? Do I need to say I have a fake girlfriend and start getting some to become a celebrity?
Yeah, I don't know,
Is that
man.
it?
I mean,
Is
you
he
get
wanted?
a lot of love too.
Is he wanted?
Yeah, you're doing fine.
You usually like,
You're
"Where's
doing
Xavier?"
fine.
You're doing great, but this time it was like, "Where's Johnny? Why do you bring Johnny with you?"
That's funny.
Guys, I want to thank everybody in Dallas for coming out. Plano, it was great club. House Comedy's really great. If you would like to see me live, I have some shows coming up this Wednesday. We're doing mega comedy chaos. That's one show, 8 p.m. I gotta change that. One show, 8 p.m. We're going all night long. So grab your tickets at samtripoli.com. And then at the end of the month, I'm back in New York. 2 shows, September 30th at Saratoga Springs. Myself, Howie Dewey. Big shows coming up. And then I got to start booking some stuff for October. But that's it. Just go to samtripoli.com. Guys, also, yeah, that's about it. So what's going on, dude? Crazy week. The Queen, she's no longer with us. Surprise, surprise. People
She's gone
devastated.
to her resting place.
I was telling people this is like a white woman's 9/11. The Queen dying is literally like, oh my God, why?
That's how you know anybody who's just completely misinformed about most of the major issues is anybody who's taking this really hard.
Yes,
You know?
who also see her as pure light.
Yeah. If you're taking the Queen's death real hard, if it's been a tough week for you.
Yeah.
I got some other questions.
If you're taking the Queen's death really hard, you might have white privilege, right? I mean, it's really crazy. And there's some people I don't know why you guys have to say such mean things about the Queen upon her death. And usually it's like you try to say something nice about somebody who's passed away.
Unless you're Ari Shafir. Yeah.
Unless you're Ari Shafir. And God bless Ari for staying the course, even in the face of cancellation, of going really hard. Yeah. It's like you don't understand history. And I do get regular folks, you should say something nice about them, okay? They're no longer here. Nobody's perfect. But there are these war criminals that need to get scorched. When John McCain died, I was on tour with Steve Renazizi, and he got so mad at me for saying the truth, which was this guy was a war pig scumbag. Right, what he did in Vietnam is questionable, but a lot of people think they called him Saigon Canary or something like that. He was singing the way he came back. He was a POW, the way he came back, and how he looked how he looked compared to other POWs. Dude, the guy looked like he was living the life. So, sorry, I'm not going to give these the fact that these people get to die peacefully is it really makes you question just the universe, right? But just know, and I've said this before, just know that these people all are coming back, and they're all blowing donkeys in Tijuana. Just know that. That's what they come back as. These farm animal chicks, okay? I'm just telling you. That's how the universe goes. She has been you could be oh, the England, the Empire did their stuff way before. Dude, she's 90 something. She presided on dark stuff. Now, Johnny, did you ever hear that story that she was found guilty in a world court? of
No,
the
I've never heard
disappearance of 12 children. Now, you try to find that story, you can't find it anywhere. You can't find it anywhere on the internet. They are scrubbing. You gotta go DuckDuckGo, yeah, to find anything. Good luck finding any disappearance, finding any kind of discussion on it, because it's nowhere. All you can find are the only things available are stories debunking it, and that should let you know that some shady's going on, because the only stories out there are the ones debunking it. It's not even the initial story for the story to get debunked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's just the debunking stories.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no like you click the link like to the source, and I've seen that plenty of times. Like
They're dead links.
Yeah, dead links. Yeah.
Did you hear any conspiracies about her death? I heard that she was dead before COVID, that she was dead like 42 hours or 72 hours before, because they're supposed to tell everybody before we knew. In like...
It is interesting. She didn't even live as long as their mother. I mean, they live long in that family, dude. Whatever they're doing, the baby blood, yeah.
Well, I mean, you're living the easiest life. I mean, everything is taken care of. There's 1,000 layers before anything of any substance actually gets you, meaning stressful. There's so many layers that they deal with it. So it's presented to you as dessert every time. No matter how crazy the story is, you get the simplest, most sugar-filled version of it. Now, the only thing that was very weird, do you guys remember when they took down the crest off of Buckingham Palace?
Yeah.
That might be really interesting.
How's that? Well, you think she died then?
Could be the time.
Why would they hold that news off, you think?
Because
They don't want to associate with COVID?
Who was the Supreme Court? Who was the Supreme Court justice? That Ruth Ginsburg?
Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Yeah.
She was dying all the time. Yeah, like, dude, she died like 3 times. And they're like, oh, they just kept rolling the story out. And it's a pick and choose time for them to drop the story. And I'm not saying she didn't die before or anything like that, or she did or anything. I don't know, but you're asking why? Because everything is a manipulation. It's a psychological warfare.
The only thing I can think of is that they didn't want it to get credited to COVID vaccine, you know.
Well, you know,
she must have gotten the vaccine, right?
Of course she did. Yeah.
Do you think they actually gave her
no,
it?
no, of
Do you
course
think
not,
they did the whole theatrical?
But they did the Joe Biden injection,
The water.
Yeah, they did the whole thing, and it's kind of crazy, man. And just people's reaction to it is just nuts. And like, all you need to know is CNN is covering it 24/7. If you want to know like what side of the story you should be on, CNN is covering it 24/7. Right? I mean, that's a bit. What are your guys' thoughts? I've been talking the whole time.
I mean, I don't give a fuck. That's over there.
Yeah.
I'm Mexican. It's that thing where we call her Queen Elizabeth. To me, she's just Elizabeth. I don't understand why we call her Queen Elizabeth. I don't understand why they do. I just don't understand.
You just call her Elizabeth?
What do you want to call her, Liz?
Lizzie.
Yeah.
Lizzie passed away.
Lizzie's dead.
Lizzie
It
the
is
lizard.
interesting, right? So now, I've always thought that the monarchy was a fucking joke. I mean, the idea that these people, you know, have just because of who their parents were, they get free money for the rest of their life. I mean, it's insane. But you're seeing this kind of woke culture having an impact now, because so many of them, especially people in the gay community, you know, loved her. And now that she's gone and it's a guy who's going to be in charge, they're like, time to go, pack up.
Yeah,
you know, we don't need no monarchy.
Right?
Isn't that
it's just
funny?
like the flip on a dime. Your
On a
views
dime, dude. Yeah.
Based on a view, just a story. So interesting, right? And now the big thing that everyone's losing it on, and it's starting to come out, is like they have a special rule for the monarchy that doesn't apply to anybody else in England, and that is 40% inheritance.
It's unbelievable, and they don't have to pay any inheritance.
They have to
tax.
pay no inheritance tax.
Yeah. So their wealth, because they don't actually generate a ton of money. You know, they just spend a ton of money. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of discussion about how much wealth the queen actually has.
Oh, I mean, interest and stuff. They have tons of interest, but just think about if they had to pay taxes on all that property and everything, you know what I mean? They'd have no money.
But the question is,
rapidly.
like, who are you paying taxes to?
Yeah.
Right?
Yourself.
Like, have you heard the whole story about Ben Franklin negotiated this deal that the British monarchy gets X percentage
I've heard
of our
that,
taxes? Like, let's just say that's true. right? So why? It's my whole theory on why Amazon doesn't pay taxes. Why would the government pay taxes to the government? Right?
Yeah.
That makes more sense than just really good bookkeeping and accounting, right? Like you can really whittle that giant bill down to $0 with accounting tricks? Or is the government going, why am I paying myself? What is the government going to go, hey, taxes, here you go. Thank you. You know, it's like, what's that going to be? It doesn't make any sense. So why would the Queen, why would the royals be paying 40% tax to themselves? It does make sense. But it would make sense if they just paid it because they knew it was just coming right back. Or even if a sliver of that gets busted off to the British government, they're like, fuck you.
Yeah, I would pay for it just to look like a nice Samaritan. Like, look, we're paying our taxes too.
We're paying our taxes.
Do what we're doing.
But
yeah.
it gets down to this thing where it's like, it's almost like they just want you to know that you have no say in anything. Anytime they can psychologically break you down and cause anxiety, that's what they're going to do. It's like this episode I did on Only Conspiracies about whether Einstein was really who he was. And people go, and you know, by all accounts, everyone thinks he's a brilliant. According to this guy that I had on, he was not smart at all. So you go, well, why would they put out a not smart guy? It's all about them just telling everybody, we call the shots. It's who we are. I mean, the best example of that is Camel Toe Harris, man. Like, dude, everything she says is idiocracy stupid. And nobody wanted her in. So here we are, stuck with her. And they just want you to know it's like they have no say. And this is the whole thing with the British, dude. I mean, have you seen Charles's hands? Like something's going on with those hands.
Oh, really?
Have you seen
No,
them?
I haven't. No.
Go look up King Charles. Is that crazy? We got to call him King now?
Yeah,
Charles.
Well,
That's what I
how
mean,
crazy
just
is
Charles.
it that their national anthem changes? You know, when the gender changes.
Oh, they're
It's
like
it's
fat.
got, it's
Look
God
at
Save
me.
the
He's
King.
got like fatty
Like sausage, like
fingers, dude.
It's like a weird blood pressure thing. Probably it's like not getting good circulation.
And
so-
like those hands have never done any labor.
oh no, he's got the soft hands.
Yeah, he's got soft hands, dude.
Soft hands.
And-
He does look like a creep, huh?
And they look nothing. His kids look nothing like
Did
him.
you watch that video of him like caressing his fucking daughter's butt?
He looks like George Bush. Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, right.
No, was that him? Or
I think it was
that-
Andrew, right?
Yeah, it was
What
the
Andrew?
creepy guy
Yeah,
who
it
got
was
in the
creepy.
crotch.
Yeah, it must. Yeah, I'll look it up.
Like
right
from
now.
behind, right?
Yeah,
That's what, yeah, it was
yeah.
Andrew. I think.
No, that's it. Yeah, it's super crazy, right?
Yeah, dude. I mean,
Yeah, it was
I gotta
Andrew.
say, good riddance though. That's you know what I mean.
Look at that.
if They, yeah,
Oh
here he
my
is.
god! And
Look,
then boom,
look at
just gets
just went right. He can't resist. I think
got right
I
to
think
the
I don't
spot.
think it's I think probably what it is he's just so used to doing that move
Look at that, but dude,
that it's reflex
I mean,
to him.
he went for the bang bang. He went to like ring the doorbell
It's reflex
on the
dude.
back door. Watch this.
You think he's just like muscle memory, Johnny?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Johnny
Yeah, it
does
is. It's muscle memory. He's been training so long for that. Anybody he's around now, if his hands go down there, he's like, "What on earth, dude?" That's so funny.
Dude,
What a creep. What a fucking creep. And who is that? He's holding there.
It's supposed to be his daughter.
Oh god. What a.
I mean, unless that's your wife, it's still creepy. It's just,
No, it's not his
yeah.
wife.
Yeah,
I know,
that's what I'm
it's just
saying.
somebody
Yeah.
that's related to him, but I wasn't sure which one.
I mean, did you just rock the butt cheeks of your daughter?
That guy's gonna burn.
They're all gonna burn, dude. They're all gonna burn. That's why they want this transhumanism. But there's also the theory that, you know, there's these dark entities here.
Oh, wait up. They want that so they don't have to go to hell? So they never die?
Yeah, that's the whole point of transhumanism.
They all kind
I
of like
did
George
not
Bush,
think
by
about
the
it
way.
like
Have you
that.
noticed that?
What?
They all kind of look like George Bush. All
Well,
of
I'm
them.
sure if you go far back enough, they're all related.
Don't they? Charles looks like George Bush. Those big ears and that round
Oh my
face.
God! You know what we have to hear for the rest of our life? Charles in charge of our days and our
Only
nights.
for people older than 40 years
I have
old.
no idea what you're
'cause I
singing
don't
You
over
have
know
no
that
there.
song. You don't know that
I don't
song.
know that
idea.
one either. Yeah.
You don't
I mean,
know it?
I know what Charles in Charge, but I have
You
no
never
memory of it.
watched the Charles in Charge sitcom?
I don't think we were even born. when
Yeah,
that
how
was
old?
on it.
Yeah, Johnny.
Yeah, that stopped airing in 1990. I was like a baby.
It is kind of crazy, just like how like.
Oh, is that Scott Baio? Is that?
Yeah, that's the Scott Baio show.
Funny, yeah.
It was
No,
so huge.
I never saw that.
And like his daughter was so hot in that show. I know he was like a babysitter, I think, in the show. Something
Really?
like that. Yeah. So now what's really disgusting is that his wife, Camilla, is that her name? I mean, can
Camilla Parker Bowles. Yeah.
Oh, she's the queen. Is she queen now?
Queen Regent. Yeah.
Oh, queen what?
That just means she's not. She's not. Oh, sorry, the
queen.
queen. She's the queen consort, rather. That just means she's not like the ruler. You know what I mean? So when
She
when
hates
he
that
dies,
word, bro.
the next person is it passes down. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't become like the ruler after he dies.
Oh, okay.
She just becomes the queen mother or whatever.
So
the hell,
she's
I don't
queen
know.
intern.
Yeah, she's like the.
She's just an intern. She's
Yeah,
not a
she's
real
not
queen.
the ruler. Yeah.
She's a tofu queen.
Yeah, it's weird. It's confusing. Like Queen Elizabeth's mother was the queen when there was a king, and then when the king died, Queen Elizabeth became queen, and then Queen Elizabeth's mother, who was queen, became the queen mother. Is what they start calling
That's
her.
too much queen.
Yeah,
It's weird.
It's too much queen.
weird.
I don't know, man. I think it's weird. I do think if she was younger, it would be a way bigger story. Or maybe the internet just makes us not care because we know so much information on her and all the dark stuff that the monarchy's been involved with. And maybe just people don't care anymore.
I mean, I wouldn't know, but how does it impact them out there in England? Is it a big deal?
Well, their money's going to change, right? I mean, like, she's no longer on the money. Now it's going to be him.
Oh, do they? I know they changed the national anthem. You know, it's like "God Save the King" now. Like,
oh,
all the
really?
yeah, they have to change the words every time.
Wow.
It's been "God Save the King." You know, a lot more than "God Save the Queen." I would wager, especially it's just because there have been Queen Elizabeth lived so long. You know that.
Imagine we had to do that to like the United States every fucking 4 years. We got to change that name again.
Actually, I don't. That song actually, I don't think it's that old. I think it's from like the 1700s, maybe. So, but anyway, yeah, isn't that funny?
No, it's
That
just
they changed
a weird reaction.
Well, and then you have this woman who is somehow still kind of the monarch of all these other little islands and countries around the world. That's got to end. The Commonwealth thing, you know, that's got to be over.
Well, I mean,
Like, what are we doing?
It's very interesting because you have all these like empires that everyone thinks ended, and then you go, did they really?
No.
Did Rome fall, or did they just rebrand themselves as tiny churches, which were just franchises all over the place, so they could control everything? Did the British Empire crash and burn, or did they just push it underground so it wasn't so blatantly obvious what was going on? Like, you know, Canada is like a commonwealth. Australia is a commonwealth.
Speaking of Canada, did you see this fucking Trudeau? This talking, I think you retweeted it. Him talking about how, I mean, we should play. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Because he is still stuck on retard here with this. Sorry, but with this COVID thing, it's like he's still living in the past, man.
Yeah,
it's just a full blown idiot. Full Ted. He's gone full Ted. Hold on. You retweeted that, right?
Yeah, and it's just like. And you're seeing a lot of people saying, so when you leave LAX, man, you leave it, you go up La Brea, I think, or Cahuenga. It's Cahuenga, right?
Yeah, to go up that way.
To get back into like Hollywood or anywhere. You go up to this one hill, there's a giant billboard telling people to get their infants vaccinated. So here's a big thing, and I want everyone to hear this. Dana, who just deep throat CNN, right? She just loves it. She's even starting to question stuff, and she told me, and I want everybody to hear this, to tell people you love, that the new flu shot is like turbocharged. Have you heard this?
Well, I remember you saying it, that it was like multiple strands.
It's 4 different shots in one, and they say if you get that and you get the booster, you're in the danger zone.
Just too much shit going on.
It's too much for your body to handle.
Well, and then the flu shot, I mean, they say it doesn't even work half the time anyway. I mean, if you look back at the success record that they admit, And you know it's not that much if they admit that it's like, oh, it was only 20% effective this year.
Right.
Come on. There's this Trudeau. I mean, this guy's just...
Trying to bring people together is not always compatible with science, with respect for human rights, with the best way to move things forward. I mean, when Aaron O'Toole talks about, oh yes, we need to unite people, we need to bring people together, he's talking about defending the rights of people who are anti-vax, to endanger my kids and endanger us all of future lockdowns and risk all of us having a slower recovery. If you make a choice, a personal choice, to not get vaccinated, then I will have no sympathy for you when you come to me and said, oh, but I can't go out to a restaurant with my friends, or I'm not being allowed to go to the gym, or my employer is telling me I have to continue to work from home. You don't have a right to endanger others. Trying to bring people...
The fuck? World do you live in? Where are you from? Like what year? That all the information that's come out. I mean, mainstream medias are completely pushing back against what you're saying. It is unbelievable.
Pierre, you may want to get on the phone with Bill Gates real quick because even he is.
He's even said it. He's even said it. What are you doing? And what's going on is these liberal progressives are now having to double down on what they used to say just so they don't have to walk it back and admit they were wrong.
Yeah, lose face.
I mean, the woman in the mayor in D.C. was like, nope, nope, no school, no nothing.
I think it's power. I think they also got a taste of like ultimate power, you know, and this guy just doesn't want to let it go.
If you don't have an emergency, you don't get emergency powers. And that's why they keep pushing this. You remember now monkeypox? You remember when monkeypox was a thing?
It's done.
Dude, it's so funny. I went to the doctor the other day, and my doctor's in West Hollywood, so it's a lot of gay dudes in there. And they were all talking about, yeah, so I have you gotten the monkeypox vax? Yeah, I got my first shot, but I'm a little afraid to get this. I mean, they were all I mean, that's all they talked about, dude. Well, look, the gays are very much still on the monkeypox. I can tell you that.
Well, I mean, they literally have deep-throated the narrative of that. And now you're seeing people talk. I got the monkeypox vaccination. Look at and like just bad shit's happening.
I mean, I feel they're victims though because they were targeted. I mean, this whole infrastructure that was used for COVID, you know, for the past 2 years, suddenly just the Eye of Sauron kind of turned and targeted them now, you know. And
if they're with it, that means they got the booster, they got the COVID, they got the monkeypox, and then the flu shot.
Oh God.
Like that sounds.
And they're on prep already. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, it's like unbelievable.
Now, there's this article here. What to do about getting updated COVID-19 booster shot and flu shot at the same time.
And dude, it's
like letting
CNN,
you know. Yeah.
MSN is sharing a CNN. Like that is like the Legion of Doom right there.
Yeah.
It's real quick. Guys, real quick, I want to tell you about, you know, if you love the show and you want to support the show, there's a lot of ways to support the show, okay? One way is to buy T-shirts. Just go to tinfoilhattshirts.com. We got some great new shirts out for you. We have the, where is it? God, All My Heroes Are Shadow Band, and that's a tinfoil hat exclusive. And we've added tinfoil hat at the bottom, so you got your tinfoil hat. And then you have They Live, the TFH live shirt, which was hot this weekend in Texas. And we have a new one about to drop as well. Just go to tinfoilhattshirts.com or go to samtripoli.com. Another way to support the show is through premium content. Okay, we got a lot of premium. Just go to rockfin.com. We have 5 shows that you can get for only $10. Rockfin.com/conspiracy social club. Me and Brian Callen's debate show. I have my Zero podcast, which I don't understand how you listen to Tinfoil Hat and not listen to Zero. You need them to balance it out. That's rockfin.com/tinfoil hat. And then, rockfin.com/Zero, and then rockfin.com/tinfoil hat. Go there. We also have one for Broken Sim, and we also have We Don't Smoke the Same. You get all that for $10. Just click all the views and just click any of the links. Just go to samtripoli.com. All the links are there. And here's a quick word from our sponsor. All right, real quick, guys, I want to tell you about our friends at Copy My Crypto. Yes. Guys, listen, the recession is underway. Fuel is through the roof and food prices are insane. People are beginning to lose their homes.
But there can be a massive positive to this because recessions are where more wealth is made than in any other time in the economic cycle. Take the last recession. Those who invested in property and stocks more than doubled their money inside 2 years. But no market rose like crypto, where people made 10, 50, even 100 times over the same period. That's what James McMahon did. On his Crypto with James YouTube channel, he told his 21,000 subscribers to invest in the same 26 coins that he did. Had you invested $100 into each of those coins, you'd have been in profit for more than $123,000.
$1,000.
Wow. His top pick of the year, a crypto called Phantom, went up a staggering 692 times. And remember, this is public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify it yourself. James will be sharing every coin he buys during this recession on his Copy My Crypto membership site. It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or how to invest. You simply copy James.
So to join the 2,800 members who copy James, go to copymycrypto.com/Sam. That's copymycrypto.com/SAM. It's your call. You can thrive in this recession or be another victim. Go visit the site and read every word now.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the
All right. So here, our guest has finally gotten here, man. We had some internet issues, and he had to come into studio, which we always love to do. He is a comedian, and he's a filmmaker, and I've done his shows before, and he's a really good guy. Please welcome Brian Moreno. How are you, buddy?
Thank you for having me here, and to all your audience, man. You have not only a really dedicated, awesome fan base. You do a great job, so thank you, Sammy.
Thank you, dude. I appreciate that. You know, it's been a while. I think I did your House of Blues show and bombed horribly. And then I think it was Thomas Paine. Is that the comic that you had up that night? That was the first time I saw him. Gay comic out of New York. Thomas Dale. He crushed, and that's when I wanted to quit comedy.
Thomas Dale actually quit comedy, and now he's a spiritual medium.
Yeah, I got to get him on my Zero.
Yeah, I figured you'd like to talk to him.
Yeah, I would love to get him on my Zero podcast. He's super funny.
Yes.
But I also get when people are like, I don't want to do this game anymore.
Well, comedy is such a beat you down kind of art form. You know, because your successes are so fleeting. Like the minute you have success, you're off stage and it's starting to go away. But your failures seem to last so long.
I was doing this. I was doing a weekend in Plano, which was great. And you know, my feature Zane was like, "Dude, if I sold as many tickets that you sell, I'd be so happy." I go, for a minute. And then you want to sell as much as Tim Dillon or all these. I remember Sebastian Maniscalco was like, all I want to do is tour. That's it. All I want to do is tour. And now he's like, I'm trying to get movies out, TV shows out. It's never enough.
Being a human.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's being human. You always try to
You always
better.
But I'm also at a place where it's like, I'm like, I just literally want to sell 300 tickets in one night in the place. I want Doug Stanhope. That's why I want Doug Stanhope's career. That's about it. But anyways, you're doing great things. I did your show, bombed, and then you know, I would watch from afar all the great stuff you're doing, and so it seems like you're doing some really great stuff.
Well, thanks, man. God, this is going back. I used to be the MC, to give your audience a little background. I used to be the MC at the House of Blues. That's how I basically got into comedy.
They just got rid of that venue.
I can't believe it. Oh, I love that. Like the amount of experiences I got to have and celebrities I got to meet and the drugs I got to do with those celebrities was lights out. Like it was second to none, you know, like the green room literally had rats running across the floor. The air conditioner wouldn't work. People hated going there, but it was so bohemian and fun. Like it was. It's for the people who know LA, it's what Sunset Boulevard used to be.
Now, that's a great thing because before the show, we were kind of talking. We've talked about this on the show before about what's going on in California, in LA. And I think LA all the outlaws got ran out. Whether it's through COVID or cancel culture, a lot of them are gone. The crowds aren't what they used to be. What are your whole thoughts on that?
Well, I think this started a long time ago because to give you my background, I've been in LA so long. It's like Sunset Boulevard used to be a place where real art was made, real music, real rap, real rock, real comedy. And then corporations started coming in. And once corporations start coming in, we all know things get optimized. They get made to be bigger and better, and you lose all that original feel, that vibe. And bigger and better really isn't bigger and better. You find out once all these shiny new mirrors get put up and all these bright lights, and it's all these soulless, hollow kind of venues where they want the same vibe, but you're never going to recreate it. Because Sunset Boulevard, you remember there used to be a no cruising law on Sunset. It would be so packed because motherfuckers would be in their lowriders just jumping up and down, and the cops would stand there, and if you drove back up and down twice, you got a ticket.
Yeah, so I don't know if you were you here during the Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal years?
Yes.
Well, that's what you're talking
Yes.
about. Sunset was insane. When the Lakers were in full on like annihilate mode, Sunset was insanity to the point it became a police state. There were every club was going nuts. Then there were shootings, there were stabbings, and people were freaking out. But then something happened where that all went away, and the only thing left on Sunset that was really doing well was the Comedy Store. And it was insanity. But the rest of it was just like all the rock clubs, just not. You're like, you drive by on a Friday, Saturday night by these rocks club, they're dead.
Oh, the Viper used to be like a place you had to go. There were those rock venues right up the street, like you
Whiskey,
had the Whiskey,
the Roxy.
Yes. I used to have to because I was the MC at the House of Blues, and basically the MC was you just introduce a band. Or you tell.
That must have been great.
It was awesome. And that's how I got the room in the foundation room to do my comedy show. Because they're like, oh, we're doing an art show up there. You could be a comedian in there. I was like, sure. And I wouldn't have to promote. They would fill the room. It would recycle itself. So like people would get up, more would sit down. And it's like I had to do like to open up for all kinds of like rock bands at the Viper and the Whiskey. And I remember one time I had to tell the audience, the band you paid for ain't showing up. The bus broke down, and you ain't getting a refund. But and I remember just hearing, and a glass bottle goes right by my head, and people just started going crazy. And that's like how I learned stand up.
Who was the band? Like was it
someone you never heard of?
Okay,
Someone
so what was it like? Yeah.
And did it happen a lot?
Once in a while, but like sometimes it would be cool. It would be like the band got bumped for someone like Trent Reznor. Or someone who,
that happens in music too.
Yeah, like, and they would come and do a crazy set and that kind of stuff. Like, I get chills just thinking about like back in the day how cool Sunset was and how if that building was still there, I would have tried to keep that show going forever. And that's how I met tons of comedians. That's how I met because I would walk over to the Comedy Store and be like, "Yo, I got a hot room right across the street. You want to do?"
Yeah.
Because I sucked back then. Like back then, they were like, "You have 2 hours." I was like, "Bro, I got 3 minutes of jokes." Like, what you mean I got 2 hours, bro?
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and I remember like comedy changed for me one time when I was opening the show, and Russell Peters came over with Jamar and Gerard, and I remember Russell was watching me, and I was trying to host. I was just some dumb comedian, young comedian. And I start making jokes, and Gerard and Jamar just start laughing at me. And as a comedian, like when other comedians aren't laughing with you, like they're laughing at you, you never forget it. And I'm like, I got to work harder and tough. And I remember Russell was like, "Yo, man, I see what you're trying to do, but a good host makes a great headliner. Keep learning how to host." And I never stopped, and that's when I kept doing my shows.
Yeah, hosting is I'm trying to get this guy to learn how to fucking host on the road. He won't freaking do it.
Well, it's a different muscle because you got to be totally present. You got to look someone in the eye. Like at the House of Blues, when you're telling them the band ain't showing up, there might be one person that's paying attention. You got to lock eyes with them, and you got to work your way out. I don't want to be here either, man. Like and they're booing you, and that's that's how I think a lot of comedy. used to get developed through a lot of hardship.
Yeah,
And-
that's how it's always supposed
well, that's
to
how
do.
that's not how it is anymore. Now
No,
it's like you got
it's
a bunch
not.
of social media followers. All of a sudden, you're the next Kevin Hart. Like what?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what?
So we were talking about something, and I was going to talk about Broken Sin when we recorded tonight, but we'll talk about it here since you were part of this cool time on Sunset. Now that's not there anymore. I do feel that Joe Rogan leaving L.A. has caused chaos in the comedy scene. I feel it's gone Game of Thrones when the Fat King died, and it was like, who's going to sit on the throne?
Well, see, this is great because I come from a bit of an outside thing, and I remember when Joe wasn't really, he was persona non grata at the Comedy Store. And I remember because Tommy was there at the time.
Yeah.
And once Tommy got ejected and Joe came back in, he definitely regulated some of the scene. And it's crazy to see from the outside. Because when he left, I'm like, oh, comedians leave? No. But it's like right now there is a big void. There's a void in who and what LA's voice really is right now.
Yes.
And that's crazy to say because LA
Yes.
is it's LA or New York. And LA ain't got no voice right now. And
Yeah.
it's wild to me.
And it is wild. And I feel like everybody is so, like, there's this podcast wars going on.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying about this Game of Thrones shit. There's all this podcast wars going on. I want nothing to do with it. I'm like, we're our own, like, we're from the north, bro. We're the wild things, bro. And like, I don't want to get involved until I got to get involved, but I want to. And it just seems like people are jockeying for positions. There's scandalous shit going down that I feel wouldn't fly if there was more order to the, I think there's this thing where it's, so a big time in comedy was Chelsea Lately,
Yeah.
the show. And you saw a lot of comics, in particular women, studying the moves of reality stars. And these reality stars would just do crazy shit to get on TMZ, and it would up their brand and their exposure. And I feel like there's a lot of comics that are trying to do that right now with these content podcast wars and just saying the most outrageous shit in their podcast that maybe they don't even mean, but they just want people to
Was
clip
that show
it.
that big? Because I hear you talk about that a lot.
Dude,
and I never
honestly,
watched it.
Chelsea Lately was humongous.
Well, this was the thing that he didn't bring up though. Chelsea Lately was also one of those stepping stones for comedians. When they put you on Chelsea Lately to be on the board or the panel, whatever they did, you made it. Oh,
Yeah.
you started booking more shows on the
Yeah.
road. You started booking the bigger clubs. The better days. And
She took a bunch of features to headliner.
Sure. And right now, there is no ladder. There's no guide. The comedy world, like you say, it's a huge void and everyone's just fighting and stabbing everyone else in the
Yeah,
back.
I see it
Cut you in the
happening.
throat. There's a red Wendy to every day in the comedy business.
And you just see a bunch of people wokeness, and people don't want to hang out with anyone that might get them canceled, and it's just like it's real. I'm sorry, man. It's just really weird right now. There's no order. Hey guys, I want to tell you about one of our favorite sponsors, Helix Sleep. I love Helix Sleep, okay? Helix is the premium mattress brand that provides tailored mattresses based on your unique sleep preferences. The Helix lineup include 14 unique mattresses, including a collection of luxury models, a mattress for big and tall sleepers, and even a mattress made for just kids, okay? So how will you know which Helix mattress works best for you and your body? Take the Helix Sleep Quiz and find the perfect mattress in 2 minutes. And your personalized mattress is shipped straight to your door, free of charge.
Helix knows there's no better way to test out a new mattress than by sleeping on it in your own home. That's why they offer a 100-night risk-free trial. Try out your new Helix mattress, see how your body adjusts, and if you decide it's not the best fit, you're welcome to return it for a full refund. Everybody is unique and everyone sleeps differently. That's why Helix has several different mattress models to choose from, each designed for specific sleep positions and feel preferences. They have models with memory foam layers to provide optimal pressure relief if you sleep on your side. They have models with more responsive foam to cradle your body for essential support in stomach and back sleeping positions. Plus, they have enhanced cooling features to keep you from overheating at night. And that's one thing I do, boy, I overheat.
I've always said that about about you, bro. Always, okay? I took the Helix sleep quiz and I matched with the Midnight. Helix Midnight. Medium feel, pressure point relief, side sleeper support. I'm a side sleeper, dude. No, not only is this mattress the best I've slept on, but it's also set way fast, way easy, okay? Helix mattress delivered in a box and straight to my door for free.
Plus, Helix mattresses are American made and come with a 10 or 15-year warranty, depending on the model. And remember, you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. If you don't love it, but we know you will, they will come and pick it up for you and give you a full refund.
Yeah, it's just that simple. So here's what you want to do. Here's what we're offering. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/tinfoil. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Hey guys, I want to tell you about our friends at Factor, okay? When you think about fall, what do you think about? For me, it's a packed schedule. Luckily, Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery keeps me fueled up and feeling good, no matter how crazy my days and nights get. Whether you need a quick lunch or a nutritious meal that's ready in minutes, Factor makes it easy, and it's cheaper than takeout. That's a serious fall win, okay? Factor is a perfect mealtime solution for the on-the-go lifestyle. Their fresh, never frozen meals are delivered ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes, so I can fuel up fast and get on with my day. Factor now offers 30 plus meals per week and 36 plus add-on options like smoothies, juices, snacks, and more to keep me going no matter what's on the schedule. Factor is cheaper than takeout, seriously. And thanks to their commitment to ingredients with integrity, you can actually feel good about what you're eating every day. Factor has everything I need for a week of good eats. In addition to ready-to-eat meals, they have cold-pressed juices, smoothies, energy bites, extra protein, veggie sides, and more to keep me going during my busy season. So here's what I want you guys to do. Head to go.factor75.com/tinfoil130 and use the code tinfoil130 to get $130 off across 6 boxes. That's code tinfoil130 at go.factor75.com/tinfoil130 for $130 off. Enjoy it.
Well, the problem with the wokeness, I think, is that comedians get afraid to speak their actual mind.
But no. What even upsets me more than that is people actually get mad when you speak your own mind because that shines a light on them not saying their own mind. They all want to conform, even though the industry's dead. They want to conform to the theory of the industry.
Sure. So look, this movie that I just made, I invested all of my money, all my time, all my energy, all my connections, and you hear in LA you hear this all the time, but you don't ever experience it. Everyone wants to be that headliner comedian, that famous actor, that great director. But when it's actually on the line and you got to put something up, everyone's busy or I don't want to take the chance. I don't know.
So right, bro.
No. And the wokeness, I think, is part of the softness that like goes hand in hand. When you become so like paralyzed by fear,
yes.
You don't do anything.
Yes.
You don't do anything, and you can't live your life like that.
I agree, man. There's a bunch of scared people that are just trying to fucking form alliances, and it's just weird shit, man. And I don't know where my place in it is in it. And I'm somewhat happy that I don't need it. Like, I'm so thankful for this crowd, these people that listen to the show, this brand itself.
It's cool. Let me give you a lot of props and your listeners. Like I was saying,
not
this.
These guys.
No, I was saying this.
Them to me.
Well, I was saying
this guy's getting hot blondes in Texas asking for them, and I'm kind of over it. All right, talk to me about my impact right now.
Well, no, you are one of the OGs in the podcasting business.
Yeah.
Like, I have been watching the evolution for so long, and you and Rogan and some of these other people who do all this stuff so well is half the reason why I stopped doing my podcast. Because I'm like, why am I going to be so derivative of people that are doing it better than me, longer than me right now?
Dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. In the short time we've talked, you're really good, dude. I'm you have, I think, this kind of what it would take to do that. But go on, you were saying how great I am.
Well, no, and I want. It's like when you start focusing on too many things, you kind of lose your core.
Yeah.
You know, and filmmaking was always like why I got in the business. You know, when I realized I wasn't going to be the next groundbreaking actor, you know, I had to learn all the other aspects of the business. And then I just happened to fall into comedy because of the House of Blues, and because people are like, oh, yeah, you shouldn't be a comedian. You should be. I'm like, what? What do you mean be a comedian? I was literally like, what do you, like, I'm 11 years in this Thanksgiving now, so it's not that long.
No,
like,
it's not.
even.
But I love that you created your own movie. So Johnny, is it time or should we? Okay, so let's get into your movie. Let's get into your movie. Tell us a little bit about your movie, because I'm really happy that you made your own. Like, a lot of people are like making their own like podcasts and YouTube channels, but there is something about a movie and what movies represent, and I love what you're doing, because I believe like indie movies is the next frontier of independent content creators that will fully like just annihilate Hollywood.
I totally agree, because some of these TikTok and YouTube people, they're gonna outgrow these platforms that they're on, because that's the thing about some of the short form videos and why I stopped. Because I used to direct stuff for Funny or Die and this other website called Strictly Humor, and I really learned short form content, won a couple awards, and once I saw like the top of that, I'm like, I gotta make a movie. Like, the only way people are going to take me seriously as a filmmaker is if I make a film.
But there is money now, like the Daily Wire, Timcast.
Oh, yeah.
Now you got people that are willing
the
to
Daily
put
Wire
money
is
into
putting
it.
out some real good content, some real strong content. But that's the thing. A lot of those people, they have the schooling, they have the experience. And now once they get a little bit of funding, you know, but it just all depends where your funding comes from. Like I say, I had to borrow money. I took this out of my own accounts. Like, I did everything I could. And look, the initial budget for a movie like this, when I first thought, I'm like, look, I'll drop 15, 20 grand. I'm in about 150 right now. But you guys, this is the thing I never knew before. It's like, to actually get a movie from your brain to the screen, it's not just like lining up cockroaches and then teaching them how to tap dance. It's also the legal. It's the insurance. It's the quality control on it. Like, there's so many reasons why filmmakers never get their movie seen, because you can't get it to clear lawyers. What I did right here, look, the
now
name.
if you're doing it with lawyers, because like Napoleon Dynamite, right, got made for like a song and a dance. Do you think he went through all
No, but
that?
those are actors. No, those are paid actors that sign a waiver. Like, say, you're in my movie, your rate's $200. You sign a waiver, you get paid that $200, and whatever you act and do, it's my footage. Put it together. So that movie to get insured is going to be much less than something like mine, because this is by the legal letter of the law. What I did was a documentary. Because look, there's clips from Rogan in my movie. There's clips from Fox News. There's clips from MSNBC. And to get clearance on those clips, it's got to be covered under the Freedom of Information Act as a documentary. So I had to make sure the movie that I installed within that actually followed a documentary. So all the characters within it use their real name. I did not write a...
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is super interesting. Let's focus on this. What is the name of your movie?
Dreamland-A Storming Area 51 story.
Okay, and this is a fictional story?
It's a documentary by the legal letter. This is a documentary. It's a comedy documentary.
So it's a comedy doc,
Yeah.
okay? But it's based in reality?
Yes.
And it has real facts in it?
Yeah. Okay, and I don't want to shit on anyone's UFO movie. I'm very much into UFOlogy. But most of those movies, when you watch them, your eyes glaze over in 10 minutes.
That's how I met him. I met him at a show, and he just starts talking aliens, and I'm like, you should come on the show. And he's like, what show do you have? I'm like, I'm on tinfoil. He's like, I'm on Tuesday on, and I'm like, oh, right up the alley type of shit. So he's really into UFOs. Like, he was talking on the side, smoking weed, and like, dude, and I was like, yo, what are you talking about? So he's not fucking around.
No, I'm a full believer. Okay, I love conspiracy. I may not believe the conspiracy, but I believe there has to be a checks and balance. And the conspiracy is one of those things, checks and balances on things. Like some of them are just so far out that they aren't, but some are so far out that there may be something there. And you have to keep an open mind to all these things. And this movie, it is one of the most comprehensive alien documentaries you're ever going to see, but I hide that within a comedy story of a road trip to Area 51.
I love that idea, right? It's like a comedy while facts are being put out, which is somewhat what this show does. I love that idea.
It's like a scary movie where like based on a true story type of thing.
Yeah,
where it's
like
a little bit of facts, but you're getting, it's entertaining you at the same time.
One time, again, I always bring this up, but there was an HBO show that just came and went. But the trailer, I remember catching it one time. And it was this black actress, and she was saying this, she said this line, it's like, get them laughing, slip them the truth. And like, that just imprinted on my brain way back in the day. And I was like, that's the key to everything. Get them laughing, slip them the truth. So if you can do that, if you can, and you know what's so interesting? The opposite has been done by the elites forever. They've used Hollywood to push narratives, which you don't really understand it because you're watching like a comedy, but you don't understand. They're like trying to push this stuff down your throat.
Look at Top Gun. Like, that's an American military like propaganda movie. Right? They don't even tell you what country they're fighting.
How many kids? How many kids signed up after watching that? Oh, I can be that instead of go to community college.
Yeah, 100%, bro.
I mean,
that's what's all done. All those movies are propaganda. Saving Private Ryan. All those are military.
They don't get made without military participation. But where do you think they get all that equipment?
Sure.
Yeah, it's like, can we get poor people to buy into this narrative? To come do it. So to do the opposite, I really like that.
Thank you. And this is one of those movies. Like along the way, I got shat on. Like I would try to show people this movie like high in the business, and one of the big mistakes I made was showing people too early, because nobody is gonna have the vision in your mind. Like I showed them without scoring. I showed them before it was color corrected, and someone in the movie business, that's all they're gonna see is all the errors you made.
You're so right.
So I had to really fight through some of those obstacles. I mean, I'm shocked I even completed this fucking thing. Like, I mean it. Like during COVID, when all that stuff happened, my editor who was working on this, he was supposed to come over and do a screening, comes over dressed up in this crazy garb, like he's literally just saved the Lord or something, like with all this jewelry. Goes to find out that he started doing too much K, and he thought he was about to be raptured by Jesus.
That is,
I swear to God,
hilarious.
He tells me, he's like, he's been talking to God, and he's like, I'm gonna get raptured tomorrow and all this and that. And I'm like, not about my movie? You had the J-Man on the line, and you didn't even bring up my goddamn film?
That is so funny, dude. That is so funny. So is this a trailer?
Yeah, this is a trailer.
So
90
John,
seconds. Yeah.
What can we listen to it? Let's listen.
Yeah. I gotta pull it up.
So let's hear it.
I pulled it.
So when did you start this? When was like the first when you dropped somebody and said this is
basically 3 years ago today? I got the idea. Okay, I was.
But have you always been a UFO guy? Is that why you did it?
Well, Moreno the alien is all my social media, but I've always been fascinated with the idea of alien because it means.
Here we go.
Sorry. Okay.
Here we go. Let's hear it.
Are you ready?
This is the name of your movie again?
All right. After this, we should take a break.
Dreamland-A Storming Area 51 story.
Okay.
After this, we should take our break.
Okay.
never made much sense to me. When I heard about the storming of Area 51 event, where millions of people wanted answers from the government about what happened at Roswell with the crashed UFO and the aliens recovered there, I knew I had to put everything on the line, and that's exactly how we got here.
We have to get off. We've lost everyone.
It all started as a joke on Facebook. Call by Matty Roberts to storm Area 51.
I'm so excited!
But the joke took off. More than 2 million people signed up.
Who came to see aliens?
I woke up and there was a little gray person at my feet.
And they came to me at night, and I didn't have a clue what they were.
We're actually at the gates of Area 51. Where are we even going? What do you want me to do? Why am I here?
We can move faster than their bullets. Let's see them aliens. As the signs warn, lethal force is authorized against those who disobey.
We're gonna get killed. Don't shoot this. Don't shoot any of this.
No, you know what? Keep shooting. Don't stop. What kind of friend leaves someone in Vegas?
I ended up making a movie that I didn't intend to make.
The Pentagon recently admitted that it really has been secretly studying UFOs, and then it wanted to figure out and duplicate that technology.
Yes! It's the best weekend of my life.
I love it, dude. It's really good, man.
So far, the reviews, the Rotten Tomatoes, so far, the critics, I mean, a few of them are throwing around the words like cult classic and stuff, which is cool, you know, and
I should get you help. You want to get on my buddy's streaming site? He could help you make some money while you're doing it, dude.
Well, I sold the movie to a distribution company.
Okay, what's going on?
Yes, well, tomorrow it'll be out on Apple TV, Amazon Prime, gosh, it'll be Spectrum, anywhere you watch movies.
That's great.
Yeah, and then hopefully we get some AMC theaters. You know, like it's on the AMC website. It's just a matter of how well it does. You know,
that's great. So give us a link to send everybody to.
Well, you can literally tomorrow it'll be everywhere, but right now you get to pre-order on Apple TV. But it'll be you just put Dreamland Storming, and everything will come up everywhere to get it. Like the Rotten Tomatoes, I just tell anyone who watches it, go give a review, because that's the only way an indie filmmaker gets actual feedback, you know?
All right. Yeah, man. I'm super proud of you, dude.
Thank you.
That looks shiny. It looks good. And now I realize what was based off that. Let's storm the Area 51 that became really big.
Well, the whole... Man, this is crazy. You're going to love this story. I was at this bar called Janky's in this small little town in Ohio, sitting next to a trucker. And we're talking, and he's like, oh, you're a comedian? And he looks me up, and he sees my handle is Moreno the Alien. He's like, oh, you heard about the storming Area 51 thing? It would be hilarious if you went there and interviewed people. And I'm like, fuck, he's right. Holy shit. So this was literally 3 years ago today, 21 days before the event. I started making calls. People are like, you can't make a movie in 3 weeks. You can't. You can't get in. You can't do it. I'm like, watch. One of my buddies is like, if one person can, you can.
How do you start? Like, how do you start moving? Like, what, like, how do
you just? Well, the first place I had to start is I knew I needed a producer and an assistant director and someone. Well, I started with Rick Izquieta. You know Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Rick and his whole family, his whole Mexican family, own a production company. They have all the equipment. So I put on Facebook, anyone have all the equipment, production company. And Rick was so all about it. We meet. I explain him the idea, and he's like, I don't really understand it, but we can do it. And I'm like, that's all I need.
Wait, so did you have to rent gear or not?
Well, I did have to rent a lot of gear, but Rick's, thankfully, his family had 2 cameras. And I basically shot this with 3 cameras.
What'd you shoot it on?
Well, I could give you the specs, but the important thing is I shot it on 3 cameras so that one camera was always facing the action, another camera was watching the action, and then the third camera was kind of like the audience as a voyeur. So there are shots where the audience feels like, it's called cinema verite, where the audience feels like you're just a fly on the wall. And that's what I was trying to reproduce. Because a lot of these people who are in there, they are not actors. They're not comedians. I could never have them say these lines and them be believable. And then on the last day, like, because they were really disappointed, because this is a failure story. Let me be clear. This is a failure story. And I kind of
all know you guys didn't make it to Area 51.
Everyone knows that. This is a failure story. So after the first night, I brought some mushrooms, and all the cast and crew took some, and you could see how much fun they were. Like a family was bonding. And then the next day when they're doing the testimonials, you could really see the difference, the change in the mental state. Like every character does a 180, whether they intended to or not. You know, and that's part of growing and evolving, because this movie is about faith. Okay, my whole thing is all these UFO people who believe in and that they've been abducted, people who believe that UFOs come to this earth, people who believe in things that are things that you cannot clearly explain or describe. It is the same thing as someone who gets down on their knees and prays to a god. These things are so esoteric and so not clearly understood and so indescribable that it's all about faith. Like, as long as you have faith, whatever you believe in, like, it's real. Like, if you believe it to be real, like, it is. And this movie is just, it shows the parallel that these religious fanatics and UFOlogy people, they're all the same. They just got faith in something that's not described or not able to see, you're not able to quantify. And my faith was the faith that I could make a movie even out of nothing, like a failure story. And that's what the faith is. Like, you believe in not only these things outside, but you believe in yourself.
Well, what do you believe in? Are you believe in dimensions? You believe aliens come here in craft from other planets?
Well, this is the smartest person that I know that's ever described this to me. Engineer for Boeing, Martin Marriott, Lockheed Martin, stuff like that. 25 years ago, gosh, when I was very young, he was describing me a job that he was working on for the government. It was to develop a radar system that tracks things that go over 700 miles an hour. And at the time, there weren't even missiles that went over. So he's like, what are we tracking? And that's where, and I would talk to him about, you know, UFOs and aliens and things like that. And he described it, and I've never forgot about this, that we are basically that tribe in the jungle. We're like that bush in the bush in Africa that has no technology, that can barely communicate linguistically with each other. So it's like, yes, maybe some people on a safari stop by and they mess with those people in the jungle a little, but our planet is simply a way station for intergalactic travel. That's the way it was described to me. So I have a bit of a belief in that. However, with my experiences with DMT and other things, I'm a firm believer of interdimensionality.
Yeah, me
100%.
too, dude. Even possibly fallen angels.
Sure.
From heaven, you know, or
I believe
dimensions.
there's a balance. There's a yin and a yang. So if you talk about fallen angels, there's a balance on the other side. There's opposing forces.
I agree with that.
That really work to pull us in different directions. Like, we may be the tribe in the bush, but just like people are fighting over territory in LA, I think they're fighting over people's minds.
That is my belief 100%.
Yeah?
That there's just forces of light and dark, and those are only to describe their intentions. You know, I think magic and all that stuff, there's no white magic, black magic. There's only magic, and how you wield that magic is whether it's light or dark. So it's like white or black. It's like how you're wheeling in your intentions. That's and like, intention is everything.
Sure.
Whether it's comedy or magic or whatever. What is your intentions? And that's why I think that's what's going on here. There's a cult, secret societies who've worked with both light and dark to battle for supremacy of where we are.
Yeah, I would totally second that motion, but go back to your intention. The one thing that I would disagree with about intention is, like, the path to hell is paved with good intentions, okay? Right. It's like good intentions start to change very quickly when different opportunities are presented. Like, I use this metaphor with art all the time. The minute business is entered into art, it's no longer art. Like, you lose whatever you start. Like, once business comes in, you're thinking about monetary, you're thinking about viewers, you're thinking about other people that work for you. Like, it's just different. And when it comes to actually the spirit of a planet, you know, like the spirit of this human being that we are, I think there may be some with good intention, but it doesn't really matter. Once people start to get into power, things start to happen and change. So I believe there's always good energy fighting for us, but I'm not necessarily sure it's intended. The intentions are that. It's just you are who you are sometimes. Like evil, do you believe evil is created, or it's just it's changed into, like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, is evil there from conception, or does evil over time, does light disintegrate into dark? Because it seems like our society, we build things up to the best we can, and then we tear it the fuck apart. And then we spit on it and condemn it. And it's like, what if that's kind of just the regression of energy, the progression of energy, and then the coming regression of it?
I like that. Evil is very interesting. Will Smith, back when he was loved, got in a lot of trouble for saying that he would never play Hitler as evil. And he got a lot of shit for that. But I understood
what did he say?
He said, like, if
Will
he played,
Smith,
if he played the role of Hitler, he would not play him.
If he played Hitler?
If he, like, just
Okay.
because
All right. Well, I'm imagining that. That's a terrific
I mean,
image.
dude,
yeah.
in 2022,
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
He could get cast as Hitler.
Yeah, 100%.
It'd be racist if they didn't make him Hitler. It'd be a racist movie if he
You don't
wasn't
think
Hitler.
that Hollywood wouldn't make a black Hitler? You're crazy.
Can you imagine Will Smith with that little mustache?
I could. This is Hollywood.
Yeah,
I put up that meme on Instagram.
That's the next step in this whole thing, is that historical figures, the race
They
won't
already
be
have
relevant
some.
anymore.
They already have that happening. And
Gender
again,
will be switched. It'll be like female Hitler.
that's what I got into with my buddy when he was like, he didn't understand that, like, when the rings of power, people are losing it because they've changed the Hobbit's skin color. By itself,
dude, the Little Mermaid
isn't an issue. By itself, if it was a lone instance, you could go, yeah, you're a racist. But this is a long line of things.
Well, dude, it's in Game of Thrones too. Those guys that are black in Game of Thrones, those guys ain't supposed to be black.
Right.
They're supposed to be just more white dudes.
So, and it's not that like, oh man, I can't believe that this character's black. But you're like, oh, here we go. Here's that. Like, if I watch another commercial where the white couple can't figure out their data plan, and this smooth black couple's like, we just went to Spectrum and everything worked out, and like, what are we doing here? Like, you don't understand. Like, if you don't see it, it's because you're so brainwashed that you have Stockholm syndrome. You have Stockholm syndrome. You don't understand ESG, you don't understand cultural Marxism, and you don't understand there's a silent Bolshevik war being waged in America right now. There's a reason why, and this is something we got into off air, the Illinois laws that are changing right now. I think that some of it is crazy. Maybe, but you guys don't think that's a little crazy?
What are the laws? Can you?
So these laws now they're basically making it no cash bail, meaning you don't have to put up bail.
I heard
for
something
some laws,
about
but some of the laws. So the notion is, if you're innocent and poor and you get arrested for these, you have to sit in jail for 30 days, and you didn't do it, and you lose your job. You could lose your job. Where if you're rich, you just throw down the money, you walk right out. And ideally, that is that's an important notion. That's an important point. But some of these laws that they're like, no cash bail for this, is like kidnapping, second degree murder, murder on drugs.
Well, you see, like, what it's done in Los Angeles with. There has to be a fear of repercussions. Like, there's no repercussions anymore. You just do whatever, crime, whatever, you just get right out.
Right.
There has to be repercussions to your actions, and that's something like accountability in all aspects of life is going out the fucking window. I can't believe it. Like, you have to be able to stand up for some things and not committing crimes and not hurting other people, like, is one of those things. But taking away the punishment for people who do those, it's crazy.
Well,
they're not guilty yet, though. That's the thing.
No, but like in LA, no bail. Like, you commit a crime, rob something, you're out the next day.
Okay, so
how is that right?
So
though?
Johnny, you guys have kind of pushed back on it in a weird way. I mean,
play devil's
advocate, Johnny. You love that.
my feeling is that, you know, I mean, in America, innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
And it's such the way it's set up now. It's
guilty until proven innocent.
Well, no, but it furthers this class war where people with money, like you said, you know, they don't, no matter what they do. I mean, OJ didn't spend, you know, I mean, he was just out living his life while he was awaiting trial. So yeah, there's got to be a better way to do this, and it's a harder. This is a simple solution.
Well, this is not an easy answer. That when I hate to present a problem and not give a solution. I don't know what the right solution is.
Well, I can think of a few ideas that would be better than this, like some kind of house arrest. Maybe pass a law where you can't be fired if you're awaiting trial. You know, I mean, it's got to be a little more complicated than what they've done here, which is just a sledgehammer.
No,
to solve
I
this
agree
problem.
with that, and that's a great point. You can't be fired if you're arrested, which is an interesting thing. I'm with you on that. I mean, like, listen, dude, I got arrested for buying drugs off a hooker, right? And the only reason I was able to get out of it is because I'd been doing a charity event for this Armenian charity event, and Garagos was the head of the board, and he did me a solid and represented me and was able to do things.
Was the hooker the cop?
No. Who knows what the hooker was, if you know what I'm saying? But
like she's like plow right with the cuffs.
No. but
polka dot cuffs. Yeah.
But it is something like, you know, we do have I mean, that whole, as much as I don't like Jay-Z and what he represents, he did a doc on that guy that got arrested for something he didn't do, went to Rikers Island, and just lived through hell for like a year or something. And so I was watching this clip of this guy on Joe Rogan. He talked about how he went to jail. I don't know how he got out, but the minute he got there, he went to prison. He had to pick, like, are you going to run with the skinheads or are you going to be like shanked? And like the minute he gets there, the skinhead walks in and goes, I need you to hide this knife, and he's like, I'm not gonna hide.
They've got to fix prison, dude. That's what it comes down to. Prison has got to be fixed. There's no way you could get rehabilitated
but
when
Johnny,
you're under the threat
you are
of death.
acting like rehabilitation is what these people who own the
no, but
prisons
that's my
want.
point, though. We've got to something about that system has to change. That
But
whole
hold
system,
on,
that
you act
for-profit
like
prison
all
system.
these criminals want to be rehabilitated too.
Yeah, but
do you
dude,
understand?
There's so many people there. There's so many stories
That
of people
just
who are
wanna
innocent
get out.
or people who just trying to do their time and
Well,
and
then
go
you got to
home.
differentiate them from the people who don't give a fuck.
Well, I mean,
because
what do you
the-
like? Ask them when they get here. Do you care? Or do you not care?
Well, then again, you go back
gotta
to
treat
the
everybody the same way.
class system. So somehow you have to classify people, and how do you do that in a woke society?
Yeah, I mean,
How?
and we're
If
seeing
every
it-
classification
listen,
is wrong.
I don't know what the answer is. All I know is whatever these democratic countries or cities, these democratic cities, and dude, jump in when I'm wrong. I like you're playing. I want you guys to play devil advocate.
no, I mean, look at, like, Scandinavian prisons there.
So I'm playing devil's advocate. When you go to bail and you're in your jumpsuit, you're most likely going to go to jail because you already look like a criminal. That's another thing. When you pay bail and you come in your suit and you're all pretty boyed out and you get your hair cut, those are things that's why it doesn't
Psychologically.
yeah, they're looking at it. That's
You
why.
know that I'm like what, 17-3 in traffic court. You know that, right?
That's a great.
I walk up. I come in a suit every time.
And that's part of it. That's why when you're on bail, it's just you're not helping your cause. Like, you look like a criminal. You're orange already. These people are looking at you.
Well, how about this? What if
it
they
adds
do
up.
this? So we're gonna say you get arrested for something, innocent to proven guilty, no cash bail. Here's your court date. If you are found guilty of another crime while you're out, then you stay in jail. Can we do that?
Totally, absolutely, yeah.
Well, that second offense thing, like, that's something we've seen in L.A. People who get out and a week later they're murdering somebody because they're raiding.
And then what happens if that happens? Like, what happens if there's no cash bail and now they go out and they commit a murder? Which is, I mean, like, I'm not saying I have answers. All I know is, like, what the Democrats are doing isn't working.
What about house arrest, though, dude? What's wrong with that? Just put an ankle bracelet
What if they
on
don't
them.
have a house?
Yeah. And the reason this
Fine, what do you mean they don't have a house?
Dude, there's homeless
Well,
people
then
everywhere.
I'm saying then they have to stay in. You know, they figure it out.
Again, it's classification. You
Yeah.
don't got a place to stay.
It's kind
You're-
of
See, well,
crazy.
the only
better
reason
than what they have.
and the only reason
Yeah,
this sounds
true.
the only reason this sounds crazy is because it's no cash bailless. Because if you have cash, it doesn't matter. You bail yourself out. You could be a murderer. And if you have cash, no one gives a fuck. because you can bail yourself out.
I
It's only for
understand
the poor people. That's why
the idea behind it.
a lot more prisoners.
But I think people think that the only reason that they're in jail is that because they're poor. And like people commit crimes. So how do you deal with that? And I'm sorry, everybody, but I mean, we can look at places like Brazil, where like there's part of those cities where it's lawlessness.
I mean, if you've gone to Rio and you look up at the mountain, the favelas are called. It's literally shacks and shanties on top of each other, like in the scariest way. And they say you go up there, you'll just never be seen again. It's just it's its own world, its own
Wild West,
rulers, its own And I'm terrified for the way our country's going, but this is something that goes back to some that I think and say all the time, Sammy. You're like these Democrats. It's the two-party system is broke, man.
No, I'm with you on that. But
it can't be one against the other.
The only thing I'm pushing against that is that Philadelphia, Democratic mayor since like the 1950s.
Sure.
Chicago, Democratic mayor since the 1950s. San Francisco, since the beginning of time, Democratic mayor. LA, Democratic mayor. Like, dude, don't get me wrong. I don't forget Ronald Reagan. I don't forget the Bushes. I forget the Nixons. I know what they did to this country, and you're totally right. And it is to me George Bush death clan. That's what it is. It's like R's and D's are theater, but there is a movement within these cities that these people, which have like, let's face it, it's almost becoming feudalism, right? Where you have these super rich kids whose parents made a lot of money and they're allowed to think emotionally because they can vote emotionally because they have enough money to insulate them from the repercussions of their beliefs, right? But it's a New York City, Democratic. Chicago, Democratic, Philly, Democratic, San Francisco, Democratic. These are cities built on fucking outlaws that are now straight up weak men make hard times.
Sure.
So, well, what if it was up to the judge to make a no bail? Like he has to hear the whole story and be like, okay, you're obviously a crazy person.
Well, I think again,
no
we
bail
go back to Joe Biden pushing that crack bill, which took that out of the judge's hands. They didn't allow the judges to be able to make calls. And then you take a look at three strikes life,
rule.
Which is what? Another Democratic policy that took that ability of judges to be like, hey, dude, this guy's got 2 felonies, and he was seen with he sold a soda. He shouldn't have to go to jail for the rest of his life for a soda, but that was taken away from these judges. Now, I had an argument with a comedian out there because we were discussing R's versus D's. And again, I've never voted Republican. The last time I voted for one of the two parties was Obama's first term. Was the last time I voted for either of the parties, and it was Democrat, and I've only voted Democrat. I've never voted Republican. I'm never voting for either side again. But, I mean, the truth of the matter is, people were calling for crack reform, but what they got was something that did even more damage to the black community than the drugs. At least if your dad's high on crack, he's still there, right? I mean, you could deal with that by taking this nugget of crack. You destroyed the black community, which is what their game plan for what they did to the indigenous, and now they're doing it to the lower middle class white communities in rurals with heroin and OxyContin.
Well, I mean, the pharmaceutical companies, don't even get me started. Like I've seen horrific stories from U.S. military people saying they had to make cash payments to the poppy farmers in Afghanistan because the pharmaceutical companies were buying up their whole crops. And that's the only reason we were there.
Well, dude, Afghanistan and Vietnam. That's why we went to Vietnam. Vietnam, the story of, they always give you this bullshit, man, with communism and terrorism. With Vietnam, it was like, oh, dude, China's going to get Vietnam. Well, even McNamara, who was the head of the military at that time, he was like, dude, Vietnam and China hate each other. They were
Yeah.
never going to work together. It was all a lie to go get the golden triangle of poppy fields for the pharmaceutical company.
Which is crazy. Like, you know, in this country, we have allowed insurance, pharmaceutical, certain big corporations to literally run society. And people don't understand that we are on a path for Los Angeles and some of these big cities to be corporate owned. Amazon, these giant head, BlackRock, Vanguard, they own so much of the property and land, and they are going to be the ones who form the city councils, the congressmen. They are going to make the decisions. And you know, like, if for the people who don't know, Vanguard owns half of BlackRock. So these aren't different companies. These are all the same incestual corporate companies that own everything. Amazon. You know how much property they own, and they're going to keep owning? Bill Gates, like owning all the farmland. It's this giant incestual clusterfuck of the same 20, 30, 40 people, corporations that they keep trying to optimize the world in their favor until there's nothing left. And that's where it's headed. Like the middle class, they don't give a shit about us. Like I grew up ultra middle class. Like that's gone. Like the days of making a wage at Mike's Car Wash and being able to afford an apartment, get the fuck out of here. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's good. That's what America was built on. And yeah, the consumer has always been the driving force. Corporations have always needed us to buy. That's what they need us for, to buy things. That's all they need us for.
Yeah.
And that's where we're headed. And that, to me, it goes hand in hand. Some of that right, left, divisive Republican Democrat goes right in the hands of all this corporate greed. That's all they want, is us to keep just fighting and arguing with each other so nothing ever gets done. And they can just keep taking and taking and taking till there's nothing left.
I concur 100%. 100%. And that's being done on purpose.
Sure.
And people don't even realize it, and they don't even want to, like, I mean, so much of what they're being done. So Michael Flynn was like, you know, I think Q might have been an intelligence movement. And like, you know, on this show, even though Johnny and I have gone back and forth, and I'll defend what I said, and I'll defend it right now, but I said Q could easily be the elites telling us everything because they're going to annihilate the whole system, which is what they're doing. Yeah. So my problem with the people who are like, oh, stupid Q, is like the information had to be real to get the most paranoid people to believe in it. So they told you what
you
was
can
going.
just say, to get the most paranoid people to believe it, you just say the most vague things that, you know, can be fit. I mean, come on, dude. If that was real, it would have
that's not what happened.
It would have been way more specific.
No, Johnny, that's not what happened.
I can't believe you're still talking about Q, brother. It's over.
No, but Johnny, everything that went down from Russiagate, that was discussed.
I mean,
you're crazy,
it was so
You're
non-specific,
crazy, dog. No, that's not true. That's
Anything
not true
fits if you're tripping off on some trip.
You want to say that? That's fine. To get everybody behind it, they had to give you enough information that fucking worked out for you to believe it. Now, Patriots in control, all that stuff. Yep. Trump's the savior. Yep. But, dude, they had to give you enough information that was real to get you to buy into it. Russiagate, fucking Benghazi, Jeffrey Epstein, all that shit that when it came out, the people who were following that shit already knew all about it. And they had to tell you that to get you to buy into the stuff that, quote unquote, dude, Trump was going to save everybody. I personally thought that what happened on January 6th was what was going to always happen, which was those people didn't do jack shit. Yeah, did they walk in there? Yeah, they were let in. You had cops going, come on in. But they weren't ever going to go to war like the fucking left and you paid all these Antifa people. Like, that was never going to happen. Because that's not how they are. Dude, that segment of society, and you can say whatever you want about them, the mega people or whatever, they do it in a way that is, they pull out their money, they pull out their attention, and that's why all this woke shit is imploding on itself. Because the majority of people in this country, in the world, are conservative. And that's how it's always gonna be. This fucking woke shit is just well-funded extremists that are a small minority of the spectrum.
What does conservative mean to you anymore? Because I think the definition of words like that have changed tremendously.
100%. So if you go, Sam, what's a conservative right now? I will go, they don't touch their guns, stop with the fucking taxes, and if you're gonna bang my wife, you make eye contact with me. You look me right in the eye, bro. When you make love to my woman, okay? They're all swingers. I've been to every red state. Everybody It's like the days of like, fuck the queers and all that shit. They don't like those people. They like live and let live. I think that the modern day conservative, which to me is more of a libertarian, relates way more with old school liberals than anybody else, than any other way. That's my personal opinion.
Well, I mean, even a Republican. When I thought Republican, I thought a person in a suit, a person that went to church. Now it's just a person that doesn't want to be told what to do.
Sure.
Which when I was like, I'm never gonna be Republican. I can't even the Bushes. Now it's like, not that saying I would vote for that, but it's that thing where it's like it's not what it used to be. Like
But
now,
that's
people
being
that are
done
voting,
up. Nobody knows if anything's coming or going anymore. That's another part of the psychological operation.
I would say I'm financially conservative, but socially liberal.
Right.
I guess
right.
by your.
So when you say socially liberal, are you okay with drag queens reading to kindergartners?
Now, see, you get into because I don't got kids, so it's like.
Well, and that's a big thing. If you look at these gay pride parades, who's bringing their kids there? It's these white women. Are bringing, and most of the people okay with drag queens reading to kids are people that don't have kids.
See, I grew up in a very, like, my mother's from Bogota, Colombia. She didn't come to this country until she was 21. Like, she grew up in a very different time and place. My mom straight up was like, you don't go to jail and you don't die. And then I'm a success. Like, that's all. That's the only.
I respect that.
Yeah, those are the only two fucking rules, you know. And you know, my dad's past, God rest his soul. My dad was ultra conservative white man. He was racist. My dad was not a nice guy, you know. And the thing is, he also taught me very deeply, like, just be true to who you are. As long as you're not hurting people. Like, my dad wouldn't hurt nobody, but he was not nice.
So would you say it's up to the parents if they take them?
Well, the point of what I'm getting at is I don't know if I'd be the same dude because it's nature and nurture. I don't know if I'd be the same dude if I were having those type of experiences at such a young age.
But with nature and nurture, would you be okay with a dad taking his son to the strip club?
That's a good. Because
would you be okay with strippers teaching kids how to fucking count?
Man, I had some bad teachers. So that would be an improvement. Right. So maybe that's the thing.
So let me ask you something.
Well, we don't live in a perfect world though. So
no, I get that. Like, dude, when have you been to drag shows? Where do drag shows happen?
A Hamburger Mary.
Adult venues, right? Yeah. Strippers tend to happen in strip bars. Whether a teacher's a piece of shit or not, that's a different thing. Yeah. But you would be okay with a woman in a fucking thong and pasties on her nipples teaching kindergartners how to read?
Well, now you're crossing the line. Like, in certain circumstances, in order for you to learn.
Yeah, but don't you understand that, this is because I love this conversation. Yeah. Like, drag queens show up dressed like hookers and strippers. Well, it's never like drag queen librarian. It's like it's meant to be the hyper extreme of that.
Well, of course, but that's why I feel like these are such individual circumstances. Like, if I met this person and I felt comfortable, yes. As a blanket statement, probably not. And that's like, if I met the person and, okay, so you had a rough childhood and this is what you are now, fine. Who am I to say otherwise?
Well, they don't even have to have a rough childhood.
Or whatever. I'm just saying, like, whatever. Like,
but would you, in your heart of hearts, gun to your head, is drag shows an adult event?
It's absolutely an adult thing.
Okay, so why are we doing it in front? And I'm not mad at you because I love this conversation. Sure. Because I'd like to have it with of someone on the far end, but they'll never have it. They'll just stop making eye contact with me and just slowly, like, you know, like when a astronaut is like lost in space and it just slowly fades away. That's what liberals do when you got them on a discussion. They just disconnect and fade.
That Simpson meme. That Simpson meme when you just lean back and disappears.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So that's why I like this conversation.
Well, sure, but let me put it in terms like this. Okay, so I was you know, as a child, like I was exposed to some really good and some really bad teachers, and the bad ones I think affected me so much more because you know, like there might I say I don't need to get into my past experiences, some of the darker stuff, but some of those darker experiences were from some of the people I trusted the absolute most. Okay, now at least this person is showing me who they are. When people show you who they are, believe them. But when someone hides who they are, that is even worse. And I think some of these people who pretend to be conservative and they're rapists or they're whatever they are.
I totally 100% agree. And that's why on this show, we don't get into the, you know, there's a lot of people in the conservative world that are like, this guy's really gay. And I'm like, well, if he is, you push him deeper into the closet by doing that. So I agree with you 100%, right?
Yeah.
But we're talking kindergartens. I just want to say this.
Okay.
Do you think it's effective and efficient to teach kindergartners geometry or algebra? Let's say algebra. Would you think it's a good idea and it's productive to teach children algebra? Let's be honest.
Well, I see where you're going here. Obviously not.
Because drag queens
I totally see where you're
algebra
going.
of life.
Sure.
Okay,
I see where you're going. That is one of the most salient points in this, like towards the other side that I've heard. Now, I would like to say though, sheltering your children is probably the best idea. You know, till they are old enough to develop certain ideas on their own. But once you let the cat out of the cage, fucking runs wild. So it's like, how do you piecemeal some of this so that you let the day you decide to let your kid be exposed to this, they're not like, their mind isn't blown, their brain isn't bleeding out their ear.
Listen,
you know,
there's a rule in that most of society has grown with over the last 100 years, right? And that was, you know, you don't get to involve yourself in adult activities until you're 18 years old, right? But we all found porno mags and we all drank before that, but we did it with other kids, right? And we were like learning with other kids. It's like every comics, their attempt at being edgy is like, why can't I fuck high school girls? But, you know, I know what I'm doing. Well, the whole point is that children experiment with children because they're both trying to figure out the game, right? So like when you come in as this guy who's fucking got the world figured out and you start playing these adult games on children, they don't know what you're doing. Do you understand? Like, that's why we push back on all that shit.
Let me ask you, do you feel like you were sheltered as a child?
Not me at all, dude. What
if you had so much access to porn like
I
they
had
have now?
My dad had porno mags.
No, not like they do now. They had some Hustler Penthouse or
Okay, so let's follow this thought.
No, but like, what if you had such access as a kid? Do you think it would have affected your development? This is just a totally hypothetical.
I was sexually active in first grade. I was molested, and I have sex addiction issues that I battle today, like hard. I'm fighting for my life over here, you know. And I wish I could stop, but I just am. It's in my wiring. It's taken a long time for me to deal with it.
More power for you to just be able to speak on it like
well,
that.
Well, because it's like I don't want I just really push back, not on you, but it's like you're only as sick as your secrets, man. And you like I was saying earlier, like people really resonated with like Breaking Bad because that show was more realistic in terms of families, like all the shit going on in that. Yeah. Like that's more people's family relate to that than
I used to work for a meth dealer, so it was familiar to me and for different reasons.
But it's
so
like,
seriously,
what is that? They
Modern Family or
Modern
the Kardashians,
Family,
bullshit,
or what is that? The
Blackish.
Blackish.
Yeah,
that was one thing.
No black person is not living that lifestyle.
There are a couple, but most people are more like Breaking Bad than Blackish or Modern Family. So, like, I'm like, hey, man, just realize, like, you have these weird quirks that, like, they don't have to define you because you're not the only one like that. And, you know, and getting back to, like, the LA comedy scene, like, we're now making male comedians pay for these kind of alternative stuff. Now you could be like, well, it's rape. Like, how many of these actually came out with evidence that happened? None of them. They're all accusations that when you dig deeper, there's no actual evidence of anything, right? So we're having this discussion, but you're making men pay for, like, wanting to sleep with a lot of women, having alternative stuff, flirting with people. And it's like, what are we doing here, right? But yet when we have on the other side, when women are like that, we don't condemn them, because when they have a kink or weirdness, society actually encourages that. It's like actually seen as collateral for a woman. I'm into this. I'm into weirdness here. Like if you have a guy into BDSM and a woman into BDSM, people really celebrate her. But she can call it like the whole stuff with Andrew Tate right now.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this video, he's smacking this chick around. That chick has come out multiple times saying we were role playing together. But it's like, so my whole theory is like, you have these female comics talking about this male aggression, but nobody ever talks about how many of these female comics are fucking married men, because the guys don't come out and say anything. And nobody's ever calling women out on being weird, kinky, super duper into all these fetishes, because we celebrate them. They can actually go on stage and talk about how fucking weird they are. But if a guy goes up and goes, hey man, I banged half the chicks who work here, everyone's like, boo.
Oh yeah, you mentioned you date married women.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a piece of shit. But women always like, oh yeah, he cheated on his wife with me.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
But I know female comics out there who fuck married men.
Now,
if they ever came out and said that, they would lose their entire base.
Well, so let me ask your opinion on this, because obviously the tide has turned. Do you think it's going to go back towards the way it was, or is it going to continue to get worse?
What do you mean?
The inequality in the way not only men and women are treated societally, sexually, but the way the taboo topics are lit. Like, because it used to be men could talk about things sexually, you know, and like you say, now it's a lot more taboo, or men are frowned upon, or, you know, they're actually shit on, you know, for talking some of these things. So do you think it's ever going to find a balance? Because right now things are out of balance. Like you.
Well, no, I think it's 100% going to go back. I think everything in life,
so,
and
yeah.
this goes to the trans movement as well.
Yeah.
It expands into crazy town and then reverts back to common sense.
So you do think it should revert back? I do too.
No, I think it should find this thing where it's like women should be able to express themselves sexually and men should be able to express themselves sexually, and we shouldn't weaponize that. Because what right now we've done in our society is weaponize women's regrets. They fully engage in an activity, and then we've set this thing up where the next day she's like, oh, I wish I hadn't fucked that guy. Oh, I was right. Like, no, dude, you fully participated in this kinkiness. And now because you're having some kind of buyer's remorse, somehow society tells you you've been manipulated. When no, not only were you fully participating, you probably want it. You were probably asking for it and pushing the event to happen.
I mean, weaponizing regrets, that's a great point, but I think that's something that humans have probably been doing since the beginning of time. It's just more of a male-dominated thing.
Like, do you know in California, there is a law that says if a woman has 2 drinks, she can now say she's too drunk, even if she isn't. She could have two fucking glasses of wine, and technically she could say that you raped her. Do you understand that? Like we've gone to an extreme on one side or another, because this is an episode that we did with Christopher Knowles, and it's about the not feminism, not the divine feminine, but this fourth wave of feminism is to destroy men. Outside of the New York Stock Exchange, I believe, there's a picture of Medusa holding up a man. And like that's what this is all about. It's about destroying the male role in society. So when you weaponize it and you allow women to be able to go retroactively be upset about something they completely greenlight, that's done on purpose.
Sure. Well, I think a lot of that is certain people certain people trying to take out other people. And those reasons, I'm not exactly sure if it's all just male or female. It's like some of it's liberals trying to take out a Republican or vice versa.
100%.
But
very
these are
rare vice versa.
But you know what I'm saying? These are very targeted attacks, it seems like.
100%.
That are trying to take out people. And a lot of this is about fitting into what's, kind of deemed the narrative right now. And the narrative is like, if you fall outside of that, it's a lonely fucking place.
I mean, let's take a look at what's going on with this Duke lacrosse player. Like, it's come out that nobody called her the M-word. They've watched every single video that is available of that match. And this woman says this guy who they found out wasn't even in the section that she said it was coming from.
Yeah,
that she said she got called the M-word, and they studied. She never reacted to it. Even the people other black players on her own team never reacted to hearing the M-word. Everybody in the section never heard the M-word. They interviewed everybody.
This is a funny thing, though, like about our brain. It's like maybe she wanted to hear that so much.
Her aunt is like a crazy person. She blocked her. She made her Twitter, or Instagram blocked, but people who were on there, and they were screenshotting all the anti-white shit that she was putting out.
So that's like it's been literally implanted in her brain.
Well, it's kind of like the NASCAR thing. Is it called the
Yeah.
noose or whatever?
The
Remember
noose,
where
yeah.
they it's just racist.
It was just a
Instantly,
rope.
It was just
literally
a
just a
fucking
rope.
rope. Like you said, it's implanted in people's head where they want to hear shit, see shit, because it's always against
But
them.
there's no consequences for it. Because the powers that be want the chaos.
But what
to
would be a
fight.
consequence? Let's say
Let's say the woman who said that, the girl at Duke who said that they were calling her M-word, and it was seen that it wasn't. Guess what? You're either suspended for some games. Like if it went the other way, let's say a BYU person called her the M-word, wouldn't she lose her scholarship? Wouldn't she be suspended for a couple games?
Well, it's the same thing with fake college sex accusations. What does she get when they find out she didn't do shit? He lost his scholarship, lost his 4 years of playing ball. Now he's gone.
Yeah.
It's slander. I mean, for one.
It's slander. But there's no consequences in this society right now for lying.
Well, the lack of accountability for anything anymore. That's what worries me the most, because that's literally being put into these children. Look, I was taught at an early age, you fuck up, I'm going to beat your ass, you're going to get it. Like, there are consequences to the things you're saying.
Just like
getting alone?
Dealing with
like
that
getting
with
alone?
my 2-year-old daughter. She is putting on very loud shows in front of everybody. And these other teachers, the parents, like, dude, what are you doing? I'm having a discussion with my daughter that we do not do this in public. And this is like I'm talking, and it's like, hey, dude, I have to find that mix between old school dad and new school dad, because I don't want to be an old school dad, because old school dads are like, whatever, mom, you take care of the kids. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I want to be fully involved, but I also don't want to be like, hey, you're two, tell me about your feelings.
I think it's very cool that you can learn from that, though, and be a better dad.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
I think that says a lot to your character.
Yeah.
And sometimes like it is nature, sometimes it is nurture, but at least you can give her all the tools. Like you can put all the tools out there to make the best decisions.
I can't wait to teach my daughters about spirituality. Like I'm so excited about that, because they have paranoid wiring in them from their father.
Oh yeah.
That everybody's out to get you and everything. I'm like, no, that's all in your head.
When did you become spiritual?
Well, man, I started doing this show, like I said, December 13th, 2016. And I had a couple people
So
come
this
on.
is the anniverscy?
December.
Oh, December. I thought you said September. I'm like,
No,
get
December.
the fuck out of here.
December will be 6 years. Okay. And, I started doing these spiritual shows on here. And at that time, they weren't getting any views. And I was like, I love them. So I got asked to do a spiritual show on Rockfin. I'm like, I'm going to do a spiritual show. And I've just been on this amazing journey, and I just really rely on my feel and instincts, and like whether I find a piece and where it goes into the jigsaw puzzle, and when it just clicks in, without resistance, I go, okay, I'm probably on something. And I've just been on this journey. So like I've gotten really spiritual.
That's a beautiful way to say it.
I'm not religious. I'm super spiritual. I love Jesus. Cool with him. Whatever. I have no.
Oh, yeah, I would say that I'm the same thing. J-Man, probably cool ass dude. I'd probably get along with him totally.
Then I had this woman on my show. She goes, I think Christ and Jesus were two different things. They kind of blend them together. And like Christ is Christ consciousness, which is like all of us are the universe. And then we have it, and we're all spiritual entities here to learn something. So I think Jesus was a mystic, and they kind of co-opted it and pushed it. Like, you know, it's almost like what they did with Martin Luther King in a weird way. Like they present him as this guy when in reality he was very flawed individual, but also had some very hot, very like important beliefs. And like nobody, you know, I think Jesus was mystic, and I think that he was a very special entity. And whatever he represented, they kind of co-opted and tried to make it one thing. And I think the Catholic Church, in particular the Vatican, did some dirty deeds on humanity because they made deals with dark entities. And that's where we're at. So I am very spiritual. I talk about it on stage. You want to hear people get weird, dog? Bring up Jesus at the Comedy Store and watch everybody get quiet.
I think I've seen, you know, since I've started, I've seen you do some wild things at the Comedy Store. I think that's a great. See, I never got any love there, and Bobby Lee taught me go get in where you fit in.
Go get it where you fit in. But I just want to say this last thing is that, you know, like whenever everybody zigs, whenever everybody zags, I zig. I've always been a zigger, okay?
Yeah.
And I've always done it like that. And the future is going to be, we're going to get rid of all this political correctness, because what's going to happen is like all the outlaws, like Joey Diaz, Joe Rogan, as that guy is, he does push back on a lot of narratives. But Joe Rogan, Legion of Skanks, and I'd like to throw myself into that group as well. Ari Shafir's like that. They're just, all these bean counter, nerd, dork, rich kids are just watching. And once it is safe to say politically incorrect things, they're gonna hijack that as well. If you remember the Naughty Show, that was done because nobody was doing dirty comedy anywhere.
Yeah.
Now these chicks can't stop talking about their pussies, right? And not that the Naughty Show did that, but people like Rogan, Joey Diaz, Dave Attell, you know, all the Opie and Anthony guys, all out there doing dirty comedy. And once it became safe, and Legion of Skanks is a big part of this, creating this ecosystem where edgy, dirty guys, or women too, can make a good living. Now all of the bean counters and the rich kids come in and try to hijack that. And then they start creating these rules on what other people can do. Like, I find it absolutely hilarious that people will get mad at a racial joke but think pedophile jokes are okay. And I say, do whatever you want to do. I'll defend your right to
100%.
it. I think pedophile jokes are the lowest form of anything. I think because those kids have the least say in what's happening to them. They can't fight back. They're victims.
What about a rape joke?
Well, I mean, like, I got molested.
Sure, but what? Like,
So I mean, like, don't tell me women could do rape jokes because I got molested. I'll talk about whatever the fuck I want. If we're gonna allow, like, this notion that somebody of that ilk could do the joke, that makes it okay. The joke is the joke. Whoever's delivering it shouldn't matter. That's my opinion. When I do jokes about black people, gays, Asians, whoever, women, I ask myself, could this group do that joke? If they could, then I'm going to do the joke, because I think I think people are trying to fucking just get a monopoly on certain material. Like, I used to have a joke that I would do, and I would have an Asian joke, and this one Asian comic, I'm not going to say his name, would get really mad at me because that means he couldn't do that Asian joke anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. You know, don't tell, like, it's like George Carlin said, you know, they're like, any joke funny? Yeah, everything. Even rape? What about if Mickey Mouse was raping Donald Duck?
Oh,
Isn't
great.
that
Yeah.
funny?
That was totally. But I guess when you say the pedophile thing was the lowest because the kids, so there is some consideration to the victims then. I guess is more what I was.
Well, my whole point is, like, you can do whatever you want on stage.
I totally agree.
I personally think if we're going to play this fucking punching up and punching down thing, which I'm not playing, but if we're going to go with this scenario, then I am going to say the lowest of the low on the totem pole are children who have no say in what's happening to them.
Yeah.
That's my point of view. right? So it's like you have these people, like Patton Oswalt has fucking pedophile jokes. He loses it if you do a joke about black people. Loses it. But has no problem with fucking kid jokes. That's my point.
Yeah, sure. And well, not only are all those great points, I just wish the comedy community actually remembered it was comedy.
No, I'm with you, dude. I will defend everybody's joke to do jokes.
Yeah.
Sam Morrell, I think, is the funniest guy working right now. His joke writing is top shelf.
Yeah.
His special, which is brilliant, is basically a callback to his pedophile joke. Like, that's where we are as a society.
He recently did
one,
the
right?
one,
same day, next day is about a pedophile joke that he does.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if you, like, could you do that for any other thing? Like, that's what, like, and this is not, I think you should check out special. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that just lets you know where, like, pedophilia, in terms of the things about getting offended for, where that is in the fucking spectrum.
And do you think that is because there's an underlying...
Because kids can't beat you the fuck up or get you canceled. And like sticking up for kids doesn't get you a diversity role writing on TV shows.
Wow, that's a great point. That's strong right there.
That's why.
I was curious where you were going to go with that. That's real strong.
Because kids can't fight back. That's why people do it.
Yeah, they're the weakest of the
They
ability
have no
to defend
say in
themselves.
what happens to them. My daughter did not want to go to the playground today. I'm like, you're going to the playground. And as soon as she gets there, she loves it. I'm bringing her into this indoor playroom. I'm like, and everyone's staring at me as she's crying. I'm like, you know what I'm going through. Stop judging me right now. You've all gone through this exact moment. And it's just like, they got to do what you want them to do because you're the parent. But if you take away that and you put some fucking scumbag right there, that's no different.
Well, absolutely right. But back to the earlier thing when you were asking me about a trans person being the teacher. I mean, I'd have to meet the person because I know some trans people that are awesome.
No, he didn't say trans person.
Well,
what I'm talking about is a trans show.
Well, no, but a trans show being
time.
would I want a trans teacher for my kid is what was asked. And I said I'd have to see the teacher because I've had some shitty teachers. Now, this is the point that I want to make, that there are so many horrific humans in every walk of life.
I understand.
And every community. So when I look you in the eye, I have a better idea. Right. I'm wrong most of the time.
No,
I'm fucking
that's
wrong.
Fine. Don't put that.
No, but I am. Like, I try to judge people.
Qualify what you're saying.
Well, I try to judge people all the time, but at least I had that opportunity to look you in the eye and try to see just for a second.
Right.
What is
and
going on?
We have trans. There's plenty of females who look like males who are PE teachers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about is a hypersexualized man dressed like a hypersexualized hooker reading to children.
Well, then, they'll have beards with makeup on. Like, beards with makeup on.
That is algebra to me.
I mean, that doesn't even... if you were a teacher that showed up to work like that...
Yeah, how early are you getting ready for school?
You would be fired.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you could show up to Starbucks like that, though, right?
I mean, like, and in terms of, like, trans issues, like... Why are we fighting for them to read to children? How about fighting for them to be able to get like a regular job waiting tables or being an accountant where they don't have to sell their ass on the street? Dude, there's not a lot of room for this. Let's just make it so little things like being able to have a real 9-to-5 job is okay instead of going straight to reading to the children. And the reason we go right to reading for the children is because it's what we've been saying forever. They're coming for our kids.
Now,
and they don't know that they're doing this because they're getting paid money to do it. They don't realize they're a pawn in the game, and they're actually doing a lot of damage. Not these people shown right here, but the people doing this. Like, there was a show on like Netflix where RuPaul was like a literal kid's godfather, like godmother.
Yeah.
And it's like that's done on purpose to cause chaos and to be a wedge issue.
Well, this is a specific issue that really worries me because when certain children get exposed to this, they're like, oh, that's cool. And then they want to become that, and they're making these permanent life decisions. Like they're having hormonal therapy done before their hormones have even developed.
No, I'm with you.
Well, that to me is what's worrisome because...
Well, imagine getting cheered on. Everyone's cheering for these drag queens, and you see these kids are like, "Oh my god, they're like a celebrity." Everyone's getting fucking promoted.
And
Why
then
don't
these
I want
kids
to be
are
that?
all regretting it later. Like,
Well, the hormone therapy, that's the stuff that's like you can't make.
How old are you,
permanent.
Brian?
Oh, I'm about to be 40.
So you probably remember there
Old.
was a time when John McCain was having giant hearings about allowing kids to do in high school to do steroids. And you remember the outrage about that? But yet somehow everyone's okay with us hitting fucking kids with hormones? Like, dude, if you guys got to understand something, and we're going to wrap it up right here, that this is not a naturally occurring thing. Okay, there's not enough people in society that this is an issue about to make it this big of an issue. And what's going on is cultural Marxism. These 4 investment firms are funding all of this to cause us to fucking fight with each other and to rip the country apart. It's cultural Marxism. You can study. It's been hidden as ESG. It's being done on purpose because you can't send ISIS in to America, okay, to cause chaos like you can these other countries, because they'll get sent home curb stomped. And it's like I saw my buddy, and I'm not gonna say the comic. He put this thing out about Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse is a racist who showed up to a BLM march. That's not true at all. You're just trying to fit a narrative. Kyle Rittenhouse was visiting his father in a city that was under riots. He showed up at 2 Indians' car dealership, got chased by Antifa who had guns. The guy admitted it in court, and he shot, defended himself. You're manipulating this to fit your narrative, okay? When Antifa shows up, they burn shit. When the cops don't do anything, people show up with guns, and that's when the adults show up and everyone goes home. You can't do that in America. You can't have ISIS. So you do it through this. This progressive left is well-funded extremists. There's not enough of them to warrant this kind of coverage. But the people who own everything are forcing that down everybody's throat. That's it. Brian, where can they find your fucking...
You can find Dreamland-A Storming Area 51 story, Apple TV.
It drops Tuesday.
Yep, September 13th.
Which is today.
Yep.
Today it drops.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'll be on all your cable providers, everywhere on demand. Everywhere you watch movies, Apple TV, Prime, all your cable providers, Spectrum, Vudu, wherever you want to find it, Dreamland-A Storming Area 51 story.
Brian, you're doing great work. Who made your websites? Great.
Myself.
You developed that?
Both of the websites.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Really? We were just talking about how great it is. You did
Yeah,
great.
thanks.
Brian, you're very multi-talented, and you're doing a great job, and you should be proud of everything that you've done.
Thank you, Sammy. I've known you since I've started comedy. I remember watching you on stage, and you have really Oh yeah, did you? Yeah, I did an Ancient Aliens video. This one won a bunch of awards. Owen Benjamin's in it. You'd love to see that.
Well, if you do more stuff in the future, hit us up. We'd love to be a part of anything. You're doing.
Thank you and your audience. You're one of the OGs, Sammy. I may not agree with everything you're saying, but goddamn, you have great point of views that have really been thought out. And my God, I love sitting down with all you guys. Thank all of you.
We're gonna push a bunch of you. Hopefully, get you a bunch of views and make it happen. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope to see you guys tomorrow night at the Comedy Store at Comedy Chaos. And it's one show, 8 p.m., goes all night long. And come hang out. We love you very much. We'll talk to you soon.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind. Tinfoil hack.